Hello everyone. In this video, I will talk about Interrater agreement and Interrater reliability. They are important concepts where we want to quantify a variable based on the rating by two or more respondents. We sometimes collect data in empirical research by asking multiple observers to evaluate the same phenomenon. We often use such a data collection method to measure group-level phenomena. For example, let's consider a case where we want to measure organizational culture. Organizational culture is a system of shared values, assumptions, norms, and beliefs regarding what is right and what is not, as well as what is important and what is not. The point here is that organizational culture should be shared by organizational members. So, if we measure organizational culture, simply averaging each respondent's answer is insufficient. It is because from a simple average, we cannot determine whether it represents feeling or evaluation shared by organizational members. Suppose we measure an organization market culture using a 7-point Likert scale. And suppose we obtain data from 10 respondents. We can plot the data in this way. They are widely dispersed, but we can compute the average value. But do you think the average value reflects a culture shared by organizational members? It may not be a shared culture, but rather just an average of each respondent's evaluation. To regard it as a shared culture, evaluation from organizational members should be similar. As another example, consider a case where we evaluate our supervisor transformation leadership using a 7-point Likert scale. Suppose 10 members gave ratings that can be plotted in this way. As we can see, they are widely dispersed. In this case, can we regard the average as the evaluation of our supervisor's transformation leadership? Some may agree, but others may not. In this way, when we measure a group-level variable such as organizational culture, organizational climate, and the like, we want a measure to determine whether evaluations from each respondent are sufficiently similar to each other. In such cases, measures of inter-rater agreement and inter-rater reliability can be useful. They are called IRA and IRR, respectively. Both IRA and IRR estimate evaluation similarity, but they are different measures. So, what is the difference between IRA and IRR? IRA relates to the extent to which respondents assign the same value for each item. It measures how often multiple respondents give exactly the same rating. On the other hand, IRR relates to the extent to which respondents rank order the subject in similar manners. In other words, the rank orders of the items are consistent between respondents. So, IRR relates to the correlation between respondents. Let's look at some examples to make the difference between agreement and reliability clearer. As a simple example, consider a case two raters evaluate their subordinate's performance. For simplicity, suppose the rating is done by a 5-point scaled item. Here is the result of rating. As for agreement, we should see the degree to which two raters give the same evaluation for each employee. We can see that two raters' evaluations are exactly the same. So, the inter-rater agreement is 100%, that is 1.0. As for reliability, we should see the degree to which two raters give similar rank orders to each employee. As we can see, the two raters gave a rating in exactly the same rank order. We can quantify the similarity in rank order by correlation analysis. The two raters' evaluations are perfectly correlated. That is, the correlation coefficient is 1.0. So, the reliability is 1.0. Therefore, we can say that, in this data, both agreement and reliability are 1.0, perfectly high. Let's look at the next example. In this case, the two raters' evaluations are slightly different. That is, the absolute values and the rank order are slightly different. As for agreement, the two raters gave the same score for 3 of the 5 employees. So, agreement is 0.6. As for reliability, we use the correlation coefficient as a measure of reliability. The correlation coefficient between the ratings of the two raters is minus 0.6. So, in this case, both agreement and reliability are lower than in the first case. Let's look at one more example. In this case, the two raters gave different scores for all employees. So, agreement is 0. However, the two raters gave similar rank orders. The correlation coefficient between the two raters is 0.8, suggesting a high correlation. So, regarding agreement, the two raters' evaluations are widely different, but in reliability, the two raters' evaluations are quite similar. In organizational behavior research, we usually measure a variable with multiple items. For example, we ask respondents to rate their subordinates' job performance using a 7.5 item scale. Then, we compute the average of the scores of the 5 items for each respondent, and regard it as a respondent's rating of each subordinate's performance. Therefore, even if we use a 7-point scale, the rating will be a continuous variable with various values. Accordingly, the ratings from multiple raters are usually different. Thus, in most cases, IRA will be low in organizational behavior research. Therefore, we use IRR much more often than IRA in organizational behavior research. If the IRR measure shows a sufficiently high value, we can regard the average rating from multiple respondents as the representative value. If the value of the IRR measure is low, we cannot regard the average as the representative value because the ratings widely vary between raters. There are various measures to quantify IRA and IRR. The list is not comprehensive but covers popular measures. The details of this measure will be covered in future videos. Thank you for listening.